Hi, my name is Anusha. I am a senior studying econ at Yonsei University, and I did my internship in my junior year of university.
Hi, my name is Felicia. I'm a sophomore in Yonsei University studying bioconvergence, and I did my internship in my second year of high school.
Hello everyone, my name is Antu. I studied International Business and Trade and Management Master in Yonsei, and I did my internship in my graduate year.
I had this classmate who contacted me over winter break. She said that the place where she was interning, they were looking for a position that I was interested in. So she contacted me about that, and I was very interested. So that's just how it came.
So I got my internship during the second semester of my high school year. I took a little break from my school because I changed school, so I had to change curriculum. So I kind of got it because my one of my aunts is a doctor, so she just took me to all her practices. So it's kind of an informal internship in that way.
For me, it's like I have a friend in graduate, in Yonsei graduate school, and then she, at the end of the semester, and she got to know the information about this internship, and she was like, hey, and do you want to try it? And then she sent it to me, and I just applied for it.
A lot of the time, knowing someone in the field or something similar always gives you a much bigger advantage typically. A lot of people I've heard from who have internship experience, they always have someone who recommended them or something similar to that.
Yeah.
Which is it's always an advantage.
So a little tip is get to know a lot of Koreans, a lot of friends here.
Yeah, just network a lot basically. Yeah. Just constantly be talking to people. You never know who could eventually tend to help you out. I would say some good tips for resume making is, I have a few actually. One is to make sure to be constantly updating your resume. So don't just do it every time you start looking for jobs again. Make sure every couple of months to update it accordingly. And also make sure you're constantly customizing the resume for the actual job that you're applying to. Don't just send the same one every time, because people tend to look for different things. Even if you don't have that many you don't have that much relevant experience to offer, just make sure to for example, in the skills section, make sure to include actual relevant things to the job that you're applying for. Otherwise, because recruiters, when they're looking at resumes, they only spend a couple of a minute or so on it. So you need to make sure that you have things that stand out, and information is very easily accessible.
That's actually true, because I have a lot of interests, a lot of hobbies, so my resume is kind of scattered. And I remember sending mine to this really prestigious science academy thing, but one of the main things I wrote was how I was in an orchestra. So it didn't really make sense, and then that's what the recruiter told me, you should just not talk about this. just take it out, you don't need this.
I had to write 3 essays, quite long.
How many words?
Quite a lot. I think one is this, and basically it's somehow our essay for applying for university. They kind of ask you a lot about yourself. You have to show your color to them, what makes you different from other people. And normally, what I normally use in my essays is the STAR method. So the method is STAR, which is situation, task, action, and result. As far as I know, Koreans really like this method. They want everything to be very clear. What was the situation, and what did you do, and what did you get after doing that action. So normally, as you said, they don't have a lot of time to look over all the resumes. So if you make sure that your essay is very clear and neat, and then you can deliver the message better. And also at the interview, they said oh, your essay, we were impressed by your essays because
wow, okay.
Because I did really put a lot of effort and time into writing that. Normally I think it's not really about showing how good you are, but showing like what kind of person you are, and like are you a good match for the company, for the position.
Make sure to like have specific specific like data when you're talking. Like for example, I interned with this place. Don't be like, oh, it was a wonderful experience, I learned a lot. Don't be vague. You need to be specific. Talk about numbers, data, statistics. That's what typically like stands out, and it's important to people. Be like, oh, I was able to like raise 40% of sales or whatnot. That kind of information is very eye-catching. It's very important.
Yeah.
If you are in your undergrad, I would say probably just over winter or summer vacation, because once the semester starts, it's going to be hard to juggle between the two, because I've seen people who have done that before, and I struggled with either they were forced to quit or they were struggled with their grades. So I would say over some sort of winter or summer vacation would be ideal.
I did mine for like a week or two, but that was also because I was trying to find out what I wanted to do in life, and I realized I didn't want to be a doctor, so I stopped.
Okay.
But for me, it's different. Like for me, it's like I learn from work better from school. Like that is somehow like my character. So I think like you can do internship as much as you want, as long as you can balance between like your life, your study, and your work. But really, like when you go to work, like the environment is totally different from like the environment at school, or like what you learn from school. So internship is really a good like preparation for you before really getting into like a position like at work later after graduating. And in Korea, like they really like take internship very important. So if you have a lot of internship experience, and you can get a job like more easily later after graduating.
I would say probably sophomore year is best, because freshman year is like you're kind of just getting accustomed to like university life, and you're just trying to get to know people and all that, and you're not really looking for anything serious. I think sophomore year is when you have a lot of time to spare, so you can focus both on your classes and it's a time where you can develop your interest and like realize, hey, is this something that I actually want to pursue? And it's not too late to decide at that point.
Like we all talked about how networking is important to finding an internship, right? So then the first years or like the first semester, you should spend time on networking.
That's true.
Yeah, which means go drinking and go hanging out with people, and then like later on they will they get to know you, and then they will like introduce you like to some like company or some like internship.
I would say overall, definitely I liked my internship a lot. I feel like it was one of the companies where it wasn't as challenging to be a foreigner, because I know that's usually a lot hard. Like most of the people I worked with, like even my upper my bosses they spoke in fluent English and everything like that, and my job was entirely in English as well. So what I was doing was marketing for like the app for the Indian market, basically. So I really enjoyed that personally, because it was a little bit like slightly similar to my major, econ, but not exactly similar. So I think I definitely enjoyed it a lot.
I interned under a doctor, so like under the law I'm not really allowed to do anything, so I just like ushered patients, and I'm like, hi, I'm like a glorified usher. It doesn't make sense. And then like I also did like paperwork, so I was kind of working the like secretarial jobs.
Okay.
But what I learned from my internship and what I liked about it is because I could see what was going on. I could see like my aunt interacting with like patients. I could see like patients having like there was one time this little girl had to get her blood taken out and so everything. So like I had to learn the procedures and all the machinery involved. So that was really interesting.
For me, it's like this is a it was very, very good time in my life.
Oh, really?
It was really good. Like, wow. They treated me so well. Like, they took me to like restaurant like every lunch.
Wow.
Like to very expensive place. Yeah, like they were really
Wow.
nice. And then like there, like the environment there was very professional. Like they taught me a lot. Like we have 3 days orientation day program, and then they taught me everything, like basically everything about how to dress in a company, how to do makeup, how to talk to people, even in 화장실에, even in toilet.
Really?
Yeah. And that was kind of like a wake-up call for me, because the company that I did internship in is like top 3 insurance company in Korea. Like it's very big.
Wow.
But like you don't expect people to talk to you in English, like because most of the time like the senior people are kind of like old, and they don't speak English. So a very like good tip for people who want to find jobs or internship in Korea is try your best to learn Korean. Like when you like you go to Rome, act like Rome. So when you go to Korea, you should learn Korean, so that like even though maybe you speak English in company, but you should know Korean somehow to communicate with people like outside at lunch or somehow. So that is how you get to know people and like make a connection like with them.
If there's one word that'll be like the key word of this thing, it'll be networking. Just like it's like a weird concept to understand, but the networking is really just socializing with people. Like my internship, I would have never even dreamed that I would have gotten it from like this random like person I studied with in class with. Like if I didn't talk to her or if we didn't exchange numbers, I would have never gotten that internship. So just like don't go like approaching people with the sole intent of like, hey, do you have an intern? Don't be like that, but just don't be, basically use university as or like college or your grad school as a time to get to know people and use opportunities, whatever, because you never know like when you will get the chance to intern somewhere.
Also try to talk to the adults in your life. Like you should talk to your aunts, your like family members. You should also try to talk to like people like your parents' friends.
For me, I think if you want to find internship, go fight for it. Like find everywhere.
That's true.
Like, so there are many Facebook groups. Like to connect people or like post about internship or jobs. Also, for example, in my GSIS like graduate school, we have a career development center. So go talk to them at the very earliest days when you enter school, so that somehow they get to know you, have your CV, and then maybe they can introduce you to some people or like some company that is like asking for the position. Yeah, I really think that never single out any opportunity. Like even though you think that right, you are not the one, but maybe you are.
So basically just go for it.
Yeah.
Be confident.
Try.
Yeah, use every resource, every option that's out there, and don't be picky, I would say. Just like, don't be like, oh, this doesn't sound interesting initially. Like, just try for it, and you never know what'll happen.
Yep, it's true. If you like this video, please
like and subscribe.
Please let us know in the comments if you'd like to see any specific type of videos from us. Bye.
Bye.